Nail or beauty school was just the beginning, right? What on earth do you do now? Welcome to the Salon Success Podcast with Monaco Nail Academy. Our topics stretch beyond nails and into all things salon related, business, marketing, and social media, and at the very least hits you with real, honest stories about our experiences. This isn't school, this is real life, real business, and really freaking hard work. Before we get started, wherever you are, thumbs up, tag a friend in the comments, or hit that share button and support small business. Hey guys, Penny here from Monaco Nail Academy, and today I'm joined again by Mel.
Hi.
And we've also got Bailey.
Hi.
And Jess is here too.
Hello.
We're surrounded by friends, and we're basing this episode on a lesson from our Salon Success course in the How to Set Your Prices segment called How to Get Clients to Pay What You're Asking. Before we get stuck into the new topic, last week's episode was what, Mel?
Our likes are just a vanity metric and literally mean not much at all.
Yeah, I feel like we did a real good job of proving our point in the episode, Mel, because the whole episode was supposed to be about how much likes and followers don't matter. And then we didn't really talk about likes and followers. We just talked about engagement.
Yep.
No matter what we did trying to take the topic back to likes, it went back to engagement. Jess and Bailey, do you have any experiences with like what are your guys' thoughts on how much success you glean from the number of followers you have versus whether or not you work on engagement?
I don't really look at it, to be honest. I mean, I'll follow back people that I know, like it's more about social, social media is social. So it's about creating, relationships with people that are following you, replying to comments and stuff like that. But I mean, like you say, it's all about the engagement rather than that number of followers. Like I know that, I've got 800 followers, but I know the diehard fans that are always liking and commenting and referring their friends, and those are real clients.
I don't even know how many followers I have, to be honest.
I had to look it up during the episode.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up. I couldn't even tell you a ballpark because I don't know. I think, you hit the nail on the head with the comments, especially as likes are cool, whatever. You're like, oh, that feels nice as an ego boost when someone likes your stuff. But more than anything, the comments and engaging with people, I've found that those are the people who are then messaging me being like, hey, do you have any availability? I really liked this set. Brings a lot more than just the double tap on a photo.
Yeah. And I always forget that double tap's a thing.
I actually love it when people tag their own nail tech.
Yes.
And, it's like, yes, don't gatekeep, just and then it's cool to see, often I'll follow that nail tech to see if they then recreate it and you've got all this niceness,
Yeah, competition-free zone. So then once we get those clients in seats, we're covering how to get them to actually pay what you're asking because we have so many students. And for those of you who aren't familiar with all of us, all four of us are mentors within the Monaco team. Everyone, except me, went through the course originally to become a nail tech. So we don't have any students sitting with us today like we do sometimes, but everybody was a student and is now part of the team. But we get a lot of students talking about how but no one would pay that. And that's essentially what we're covering off today, is getting them to pay what you are actually worth. So first things first, slightly off topic, but not. I think you probably need to change a very common way of thinking because we're not in competition with each other, which is what Jess was just touching on. We're also not in competition with cut price shopping mall salons. Like, as cheesy as it sounds, we're in competition only with ourselves in our own salon, because if we do the best job that we can possibly do, the clients will come. And if the clients don't come, or worse, if they come and then they don't come back, it's not because of the price at all.
You've got to remember, the manicure is your product, but also you are the product. And that product is not sitting in another salon. So it's just as much the experience with you as it is the end result.
And I've had clients drive 4 hours between towns to come to me at my price. And then I've had people who are 5 minutes down the road saying that I'm too expensive. And then I've also had regulars be like, you need to put your prices up. So the price is such a low part of what we're actually like using to achieve our goals.
I think as well, like there's a big, the "you're too expensive" comment, like is really frustrating because at the end of the day, there is a lot of luxury items out there that I can't afford. It doesn't necessarily make them too expensive. They're just out of my affordability range, and that's okay too. And I think that, you know, there's something for everybody, and it comes down to, again, like knowing what your target audience, target customer is, what do they look like, and you're going to fit within that, and that's what you're trying to hit. If you want to hit, you know, the people who are like $20 for a full set of acrylics, I mean, that's cool if that's who you want to target.
I'd like to hit them with some training.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, that's not what we're trying to target. And, you know, you have that ideal customer in mind, and it's not just like what they're willing to pay, but there's a whole lot that goes into that, right? But just that pricing is a part of that, and it's someone who's willing to pay what you're worth, because being too expensive for someone doesn't mean you're not worth that.
It's like the reels that say, just if I'm out of your budget, just say that. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to be like, "You're too expensive, rah, rah, rah." Like, if you can't afford to come to me, then that's fine. I don't do things because I can't afford them, and that's just how it is.
Totally.
I saw something along the lines of what you were just saying, Bailey, like years ago, and I've always been so careful ever since to say, in like, instead of saying I can't afford that, I'll always try really hard to say that's not a priority for me right now. And like my step kids, they'll say they're like they're 10 and 13 and they have pocket money and they are buying their own things, and they will say like, oh, I can't get that, I'm broke. And I will always say, you're not broke, it's not a priority. And like Ella's got hundreds of dollars in savings, and then she'll go, I can't go to that today, I'm broke. No, you're not. You have more money than a lot of people have because you have no responsibilities and no bills. But it's not your priority right now. And like trying to drum into their head, because I hate that way of thinking.
I think as well, there are so many facets to somebody's pricing. You know, it's not just this is what they want to pay, this is the type of client they want. There's their own costs, their own materials that they use, the system that they use, the brand, you know, what's involved in that client experience, you know, their overheads, what they want to pay themselves, how much they spend on marketing. You know, there's so many things that go into people's pricing, and it's never just that's the cost plus X amount of percentage, you know, and I think that we need.
Did they spend money on training? Like, how much did they invest on
continuous improvement training as well, right?
Like, I'm sitting in a cabin that I own outright, but just because I'm not paying a lease on it doesn't mean that I don't deserve the same price as people who are, because I saved up $20,000 to buy the cabin, and that was income I didn't have then. And same with the continuous training. Like, I spent the first probably 6 years of being a full-time nail tech going to Australia at least twice a year to do extra training, and that comes out of what I would have earned. So I was quote unquote broke that whole time because that's where I was putting my money. But then also, like, I think, or I had a client last week or the week before say, I'd never seen her, never met her before, and she made a comment about like how this was a good idea for a business, and she goes, like, how'd she phrase it? She goes, well, you know, like, it's probably more fun than like making coffee at a cafe. And it rubbed me the wrong way, because no shade against cafe workers, but like, unless you are passionate about coffee or like your community in your cafe, making coffee is no one's career. And she was comparing what we do to what, like, she was making a direct comparison to the minimum wage workers frontline hospo. And I was like, yeah, that's that is definitely my other alternative. Yep, not
like the only way you're
years
comparing those two is if you're someone who owns your own like caravan, and
Yes.
you're like owner operator, like that's the comparable.
And that is not what she was saying.
Does literally everything.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe now's not the time to tell you that I earn $90 an hour, or like I'm priced my pricing is based around $90 an hour. It probably averages more like 70 sometimes, but that's because that's taking into account gaps and stuff. Like if I take a whole day, then it's probably more 70. But the thing is, if anyone goes, oh, for doing nails, well, if you're 16 years into your career, would you not expect to be making up close to that amount or more? Like, at what point do you, sitting in a corporate office just telling people where to go at what time, why are you earning $200 an hour and I can't for 16 years?
Or also just the same people who make those comments are the ones coming in, sitting in your chair, paying like $90 to $120 for a set of nails. And you're like, how much do you think I make? Like, you're paying that much for a set of nails. You know how long this takes. What makes you think that I'm basically making minimum wage here?
Yeah, when we were renovating our house, the builder made so many comments that would be, and I started renovating it before Carl moved here. So I like rolled the renovation on my own money, and the builder made so many comments about like, they just keep coming, don't they? Like I just, how many people need their nails done? And I was like, bro, have you seen the size of your invoices? Where do you think I'm paying them from? Because for me, Monaco is a passion project. Like Monaco is not my primary income. I live off nails, and then if Monaco has a good month, great. But half the time I'll reinvest that in Monaco anyway. Like nails is what I'm paying my bills with, and I was paying his bills, which were chunky. But he's like, wow, you have more than 2 clients a day? Like, what do you, yeah. Anyway, I think, going back pre-tangent, that what we want to do is think of it this way, like, this kind of goes back to what Jess was saying about like us being the product and that sort of line of thinking. Every client comes in with a problem, and this applies to all businesses. If I go to a fast food restaurant, my problem is not that I'm hungry. It's that I'm hungry and in a hurry or tired. Or the smell got to me. I was like, oh yeah. If I wasn't in a hurry or tired, I would cook. Or I'd go to the supermarket, or I'd go to a restaurant. Like, no one genuinely complains about the quality of food at a fast food restaurant because they know to expect a certain quality. They will, however, passionately complain about a delay. And if I go to a fancy restaurant where they serve like tiny food on giant plates, my problem there is also not that I'm hungry. It's that I want to impress someone, or I want to feel fancy. I want to like celebrate something. So in that scenario, I'll be upset by poor service or low quality, but I have a much higher tolerance for the time it takes for my meal to arrive than I did at a fast food restaurant. So similarly, if I walk into a cut price salon, my problem is not that no one's problem is that they need their nails or brows or hair or whatever done. My problem when I walk into a cut price salon is that I'm on a tight budget this week, or the only time I could find was while I was also getting the groceries. Like, you go into a cut price salon in a mall for either price or convenience. But if I book in with like one of you guys that are here with me now, my problem isn't that I need my nails or my brows or my hair done. My problem isn't a budget or a lack of time. My problem could be that I want my nails done and I have a desire for higher quality than before, or I have a desire for high hygiene standards. Those things I'm not expecting in a cut price salon, I hope. I hope no one is walking in there expecting super high quality and great hygiene. But like, one of my clients, her problem is she has high standards and a lack of time. So she doesn't want to go to a mall because she has a couple of like permanently damaged nails from like way before I met her that she doesn't trust them to care for properly. But she's also really busy in her job. So she will often turn up to an appointment 2 hours early and sit and work at my place just to save like 20 minutes to go home, work a bit and come back. So her problem, just to stay on this tangent, is she has no time. So the way I solve that problem isn't by decreasing my prices. Like, it's, if she walks in early, I drop everything I'm doing to like fit her in earlier if I can, or so that she can get on with the rest of her day. Or like, if Lily that works with me is here, she'll sort the payment and get the colors chosen before this person's appointment even starts so that she can leave immediately after. Like, it's taking that client's number one priority and doing what we can to solve her problem. But no one's problem when they are booking to get their nails done in a first world country is price. That's never the number one actual problem, because nails weren't the problem to start with.
All in all, it's that solving each client's unique problem, because they all have something, and figure out what it is. And that comes down to as well, like your client consultations that you have before you even touch someone's nails, making sure you do understand who your client is, what they're after. And it's not just about what their favorite colors are and what their favorite shape is. There's a lot more that's involved in that process, so that you can be the person that can solve those problems for them.
Like you said, if anyone's booking for nails, then budgeting in their life is not really an issue.
They might say it is, like they might not have a lot of budget to go around, but ultimately they have enough money to be thinking about luxury services.
And put it in an account, and then they transfer it across at their appointment because it's a priority for them. And like you said, Penny, like, you know, with your stepdaughter, like they don't have a lot of money for other stuff, and it might be the only thing that they do, and they love it so much, so they've made it a priority, and they've decided that that is what they're going to spend instead of going out every Friday after work. And then they come in so that they know that they're getting that quality. They're not going to a chop shop, well, mall, half price, whatever, you know, and they know. So it's recognizing it and balancing it. But again, I don't think it's your problem as a nail tech to come up with solutions for your clients around their finances.
Yeah,
you know?
Agreed.
Totally comes back to the whole thing. If you can't manage it or afford it, like I say, then sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sorry you can't afford it. But yeah, I'm not gonna lower my prices just for you, or
because just like you need to pay your bills, I need to pay mine. So it's really unfortunate that this isn't a priority for you right now, or this is out of your affordability right now. But just like you got to pay your bills, I've got to pay mine, and I'm not discounting for other people and jeopardizing my financial stability for people who are clients. I want to take care of them when they're in my seat, but I need to take care of me and my family and my situation as well.
And when people can't afford what we offer, there are people that offer something they can afford. That we're not their only option, and this is not like basic needs. This isn't the supermarkets having a monopoly on bread and milk. This is nails. Like, it's, who gives a shit? It's, why are we even putting bright colors on the ends of our phalanges? It doesn't make sense. Why is there an entire industry around it? It doesn't make sense that people get so caught up on it. If they really want their nails done, it doesn't have to be you that does it. So like with our topic being how to get them to pay what you ask, some people you don't, because you are not the person that solves their problem.
I mean, where I'm a small town, and you know, there's a bunch of people up here that do nails. I'm not the only one, but I don't even look at what they're doing. I kind of keep my tunnel vision on, because who gives a shit what they're doing and what they're charging and what, like, that's great. But I'm me. I've got my niche of services that I offer. I market that to my clients, and I don't know. I think that when you're a student, because I did this particular module in the Salon Success, and the one thing that I remember really wanting to do this module for was like freaking out that I've just changed careers, I've invested all this money and training and all these products, and I want to make sure that I'm not shooting myself in the foot and not covering anything or not making it a viable career for myself. I wanted to be successful. And yeah, definitely, like, you do start freaking out and you do start looking at what everybody else around you is doing. But again, you just got to bring it back to like, well, you're the product. They're not coming to, you know, Sally up the road, because well, I'm on a tangent now. So
Tangents are great. I fully support tangents.
You've got someone up the road and it's like that, I've got $40 to do my nails. Well, they're not going to come to me. So they're going to look around and see and find someone else. And then they're going to look at what every person is offering and work out what their priorities are. You know, do they want great banter? Do they want, you know, beautiful products and hand painted art? Or are they happy just to go to the next person up the road who doesn't necessarily have that as much of an option? Or their, you know, even the appointment times, you know, sometimes people will go to somebody because that's the person that can fit them in on an evening or a weekend, and that's great. I don't want to work evenings and weekends. I work one late night till 6 o'clock. That's it, because my priorities are not like that. But you'll find the clients that fit, that work in with what you're offering, and just like prices. And I don't know, I've never really, the only person who's complained about my pricing is my daughter, and she gets her nails. So she's like, you just charge less. You'd have so many of my friends coming. And I'm like, well, they're not my target audience. They're not who I want to come in, because they're going to go out on a Friday night and pick their nails off while they're waiting in the line at the bathroom at the bar. And like, those guys, like, you know, you're investing. It's an investment. Like, you're not going to go out and ruin it. Anyway, I don't know where I was going. But
no, it was great.
It's funny, like, that you say that though, about like your daughter being the one to complain, because even when it comes to like, people talk about like discounted or free services for like friends and family, and the only people in my life who get that are my mother and my mother-in-law. Like, that's it. Like, no one else in my life gets that. I don't have living grandparents, so like, obviously my grandmother, if that was the case, would, but it's like my mother and my mother-in-law. And both of those women try to pay me as well. It's just, I personally, those are people I choose to give free services to. But I remember like years ago when I was working retail in one of my like first jobs, and the owner of the business in our training modules even says this. He's like, if people come in claiming to know the owner to get a discount on products, they're not my friends, because my friends will genuinely pay full price, or otherwise I will have contacted the store ahead of time. And the whole like, oh, I should get a cheaper service because I'm your friend. My friends pay full price because they respect what I'm doing and what I'm offering, and they choose to come to me, not just because we're friends, but because I offer the service that they want at this like quality level that they want, the hygiene, everything wrapped up into it. They will pay my full price. And I mean, like, my best friends will pay my full price because they respect my business. And it's usually people who are either really close to you that they'll, oh, you should be cheaper, or people who are like friendly, but you're not friends, you're not really close, are the ones like asking for discounts on your services. Oh, well, because we know each other, I should get a discount. Like, well, when my best friend will come sit in my seat and pay full price, why would I be giving you a discount? And I think like it's good when you're a student to have those people who you can call on for free sets, whether it be for a lesson or maybe your portfolio that you want to get through. They'll get in at the time that you need in order to submit that. But when it comes to, okay, cool, you've passed that module now, you're all good to go, you don't still want to be trying to offer discount services to those people, because that's not going to help you grow the clientele that you want and have people sat in your chair paying the prices that you are setting for your business.
One of my closest, sorry, Jess, you go.
Sorry, I was going to say, I've got 3 people that I used as models during my training, and they're all clients now and are all happy to pay my prices. The only thing that gets a bit stuck in the way is enforcing your policies, which again comes down to is kind of goes hand in hand with pricing, I guess. But yeah, like, real friends don't complain about, you know, about what they're paying. They're happy to support you, because, you know, why. And what I was going to add before was that Grace does say to her friends, you know, well, if you want the best quality and you want a manicure that lasts and you want someone to do it properly, you should pay for it. It's worth it. So she is doing my little champion thing out there, but
she complains about the prices to you, but she tells them that they need to up their budget.
Yeah, fully. So I'm having nails for free because she's just moved out, and it keeps her coming back to me every 3 weeks.
One of my closest friends goes to someone else because I'm not in her budget right now. and she was going to get her nails taken off, and I was like, you could just go here, like they're a bit cheaper, and then you'd be able to keep getting it done. She's like, oh, I can't. And I was like, yes you can, because I can't afford to give you that spot at a lower price, but you can afford to go to this other person, and when I'm back in your budget you can come back. It's business. It's not, you're not going there because you hate me, you're going there because right now your priority is something else. And like when for a while I had very, very limited nail spaces, and like my mom usually puts something towards her nails, but obviously not full price or anything like that. And like there's no, it'll like she'll finish she doesn't live near Harry that now, so this is kind of like a while ago, but like she'd finish the appointment and be like, do you want some money? Like kind of thing. But so because I had super limited spots, if she wanted her nails done super like within 2 weeks kind of thing, I was like, I can't fit you in this week unless you pay. And she'd be like, oh, but I'm your mother. And I'd go, then you go next week, because I have 10 appointments a week in which to make money, and I have to make money in each of those hours. If I'm going to do your nails for free, then it needs to be outside of those hours. You have to become number 11, and I can't do that this week, so I can do it next week. And like she's still getting her free nails, or she might give me some pocket money, but like it's still a business. You still have to make money. And now we're really on a tangent.
Yeah.
But I want to take it back to solving people's problems, because I have an example that I wrote down because I knew that I would forget like what I wanted to say. So I had this client when I lived in a different town, Heather, and the first time she ever booked, she called up and she said, I really want to book, but I'm driving from an hour and a half away. What's the earliest that we could do to get her back in time to start work? So we said, well, like, I don't mind doing 7 a.m. Like I'm up by then. And at her very first appointment, she walked in with the strut of a school principal, because that is what she was. And she goes, all right, I want acrylics, sharp, square shape, cool, red color, and thick. I know you're going to talk me out of thick, but I've been wearing them for 20 years and this is what I want. If you do a good job, I'll be back. And usually when I tell people that, they're like, oh my goodness. Heather was one of my favorite people on the entire planet, my favorite kind of client, because she told me her problem within 3 seconds of meeting her. She wasn't even in the seat when she said that. Like I have a core memory of this lady in a red coat walking across to me telling me that. But her problem was that no one met her standards or followed her requests. Like she told me, I know you're going to talk me out of having them thick. So her problem was not her nails, and problem is no one wanted to like go against their standards to do what she wanted. So she drove an hour and a half to try me out because she had no one closer that she hadn't already tried. I did not want to do thick square nails, but she told me how to make her happy. So I gave her thick square nails, and then she paid me fortnightly ever after until I moved towns. Like she would also sometimes come at 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning, which didn't bother me, because from an hour and a half away, 6 a.m., she'd be gone by 7. She'd be back by 9:30 when her husband woke up to go to golf. Like being an hour and a half away, if she came to me at 12, that ruined her whole day. Now from 10 until 3 revolves around her nail appointment, but coming really early meant that she was back before her day started. And she came to me like for years and years and years, but price was never her issue. How to get her to pay me was to just do the thing no one else would do for her.
I love that. As soon as you said that, of like she walked in and was like, this is what I want. I know you're going to talk me out of it, but do it like this and I'll be back. I'm like, I love that.
Yeah.
Like the amount of times I will be doing prep work on a client and they're still humming and hawing about what color they want. I'm like, you really need to come more prepared, or I'm going to choose for you. Like we get to color stage and you haven't decided, I'm deciding. Like I can't have you sit here for half an hour humming and hawing over what color you want. So someone who walks in is like, this is what I want. This is how I like them. I love that. That's amazing.
She was so good. And then sometimes her husband would come to appointments with her. If he woke up early, he'd come for the ride. I loved him so much. Like they were so cool. I think I actually, like, last year or the year before, I found her number randomly on an old SIM card, and I texted her to be like, I think about you. And she was like, oh, I hope you're doing so well. She was the best.
Big principal energy.
Yeah, she
Doing so
honestly,
well.
hard out, big principal energy. She was in like a decile 1 school where she really had to like tough love, and I want to be her when I grow up.
She would have terrified me.
She was terrifying, but I mean, I
Like in
like
the
roller
best way.
coasters too.
I would have been like, oh my God.
But she told me exactly how to make her happy. Like, that's the least scary. The scariest thing is when someone sits down that you've never met before and says, oh, I don't really care, you choose the color. I'm like, but I don't know you. I don't know what to base that on.
Yeah.
I love that though, because like I'll usually just talk to them, or I'll look at what they're wearing, or show me some things that you have saved in your camera roll that you like, show me your favorites in your photos. Not even about nails, but I think that comes from doing design before, where people would be like, I need a new logo and I don't know what I want, and you'd be like, okay, let's try and fish it out of you, but
This is us proving our own point, Jess, because we are comparative nail techs. We're highly skilled. We both work for Monaco. We both have salons in small towns. Like, we are like pros and cons list comparative, but I would take Heather and you would take those color chooser clients.
And that's why you can live alongside in harmony with other nail techs, even in a small town.
Yeah. This actually ties, sorry, you go.
Oh, I was just going to say, and pricing kind of falls into that too. It's like, it's about your demographic.
Yeah. It ties in with the next note that I had, which was like, you can't be everything to everyone. And if you pressure yourself into changing that, like, that's the only time that price is really a factor, is if you think that you can be everything to everyone. Like, all businesses really have to choose if they're going to prioritize being the faster, the better, or the cheaper of like their category, like salons aside, like everything. Like, Kmart prioritizes cheaper, then faster, then better. Gucci prioritizes better, then faster, then cheaper. Like, online shopping, faster, or at least more convenient might be it. But like, you could buy a handbag in all 3 scenarios. Kmart's won't last forever. Gucci's will cost the earth. But you could put a Kmart next to a Gucci store and both of them will sell handbags. Like, you can put a crowd of 100 people in front of a Kmart next to a Gucci store and they will divide themselves and both stores will make money. So like, I could open up next to a cut price salon and we would both get clients. Like, that wouldn't ever be an issue, because the same people won't walk into both stores. Like, when Leah Light started becoming like more and more well known, and if anybody doesn't know who she is, if you're new to the industry, she had a massive social media presence like over the last decade kind of thing as a nail tech. But I had clients that would walk in and be like, oh, are you worried about that lady Leah? And I'd be like, no, why? And Leah lived 45-minute drive from me. And I was like, there are hundreds of nail techs between me and Leah. Why would I be worrying about Leah? And they'd be like, well, just because she's got like, well, like, she's so well known and she's doing so well. And I'm like, yeah. And I could open up next to her. We'd both be fine. Like, are you going to go to Leah? And they'd be like, well, no, I come to you. Why do you think all my other clients are going to go to Leah then? Like,
if you start accommodating for one of your clients that can't quite afford to come, so you drop it for them, it's really hard to get them back to where they should be. Or then they're going to say to their friend, oh, but I only pay $30. And they'll come and go, oh, but Helen only pays $30, so I want to pay $30. Like, it's hard.
You can use your discretion, like, I've got clients who religiously post about me online, share my work, come, love, leave me reviews. And if they're having a really tough time, or they've had a really unexpected bill or something like that, like, I can choose. Do I give them a discount, even though I don't really do that ever? But, you can do that. But if somebody, I think with a new nail, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent now. I think with a new nail tech, you often get questions about pricing in your DMs, or if you don't have a price list up there. And it's about, I think the worry as a new nail tech is, well, how do you respond to that? How do you respond to somebody saying, oh, here's my price list. Oh, that's too much. I only pay this much down the road. And
okay, so why are you trying to leave down the road then? If you're so happy with your prices there, why are you inquiring about my prices if you're so happy with this cheaper price you're paying elsewhere? Because you're not happy with their service.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you know what I mean? But like they do that. They'll be like, oh, well, I pay this much here. I'm like, okay, so go there.
Okay, bye.
You know, there's a reason you're not just going to keep going there. Because if I was so happy with the price and the service elsewhere, I wouldn't be inquiring at a new place, right? And I think that that's like where, when you're first starting out, you get so, oh, well, yeah, if they can get it, it gets in your head a lot more when you're new. But if someone said that to me, I'm like, okay, so go there then. I'm not doing a full set for $30. Like, that's not going to happen ever. Like,
yeah,
you know,
it's the whole confidence. Hey, know what you're worth. And if they can't meet that, then sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, but I think it, like, those little tactics almost from people, they see your work online, they see you're doing a really good job, they love your art, and they go, oh, well, yeah, I'm paying that here, but I like your art better. And like, okay, well, if you also like my art's on top of my base prices. My base prices is for a full set single color. You want art that's extra, so then this is the price. And
yeah, you're right, it's a tactic. They want you to go, oh, okay, come in and do it for the same price.
Oh no, I feel like my work is just so terrible. I have to lower my prices to match that, to make you happy. But I think, you know, the longer you do it, the more you have that confidence in your own ability. And I think it really sucks that it's typically newcomers to the industry who, you know, they've just finished their qualification, they're just starting out with like trying to get clients, trying to build a full-time clientele, getting their books fill up, and they're the people who typically get targeted with those kind of, well, I pay this here, so then what?
I think though, like a standard response is really good for people when it comes to thing, you know. And I mean, I know that like when you're new, you don't really want to say, well, go there then, you know. It's more, you know.
No, and I wouldn't be so rude and to say it, because customer service is still a thing, but in my mind that's my immediate response.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, I've never really had anybody kind of ask me about my pricing and stuff like that, but it's more around like, if you advertise why you're charging that price, you don't get the question. You know, you don't get the person who's like, oh, this is what I would like, oh, that's really expensive, or, you know, that's not in my budget. So it's almost, I don't know, I don't like
having a bit more transparency with your pricing to like.
No, I mean, like if you have your pricing on your website or on a saved story and things like that, like people can find out your pricing before they even get in touch with you, so that you don't have those questions. I don't know, that's what I
think, like you said as well, having almost a generic response when you get that, so that you're prepared and you have something that's like well put together to respond to those queries when they come in, is a really good.
I think in the module about creating like a shit sandwich, you know, like where you do like, hi, thank you so much for reaching out, these are my prices and you're welcome to book in, here's my booking, like, bye, have a great day. Yeah.
But I get what you mean, like show them what they're paying for. So show them your qualifications, show them your products, show them your cleaning hygiene routines, show them all that stuff, and then they don't really go, oh, but why is it so much?
Exactly. Yeah, like this is what I'm spending my money on, this is what I'm investing in here.
Have it all on display, like we can see ours in the background, you know, like it's there for them to clearly see.
I'm sitting in my lounge, but mine is up with my nail stuff. Absolutely, because it's, I don't know, I'm super proud of it as well, so I love having it displayed. So when someone comes in and they're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, just like extra highlight, look at my 95 plus stickers too.
Before we continue on with the podcast, we just want to take a quick ad break to talk about How to Set Your Prices, which has been referenced a few times in this episode already. It's a short course. It's part of our bigger Salon Success module that is available in a bite-sized piece. It's really easy to find if you literally Google Monaco Nails, How to Set Your Prices, easier than me giving you one big URL. And our mentors have affiliate codes that you can use to get 10% off any of our courses.
Mine is Jungle Nails NZ.
Jess, what's yours?
Mine's Gloss Nails.
And Bailey, you've got one?
Mine is Bailey.
Oh, perfect. Nice and easy. So we joke that the mentors or affiliates can fight to the death for your codes because they do get a kickback if you choose their code. So grab whosever code you heard first and go and enroll in a course for 10% off. How to Set Your Prices is one of the modules I'm most proud of, and I definitely think everybody should do it. Going back to what we were talking about with, well, going back on all of our tangents, I'm really enjoying having these, but to go back to how to get people to pay what you're asking for, I think you really need to just choose your priorities. So we talked before about faster, better, or cheaper. You just need to choose your order. If you want to be cheaper, then faster, then better, that's totally fine. But I just don't think you're here listening to this because you want to lower your prices. If you want to be better, then faster, then cheaper, that priority order, that's also fine. But then you focus on the top one being the best. Forget about being cheaper. And then remember that being better doesn't just mean skill, but how you solve a client's problem, because better means something different to everyone. And that's where problem solving comes in. Better could be cleaner. It could be longer lasting. It could be quality orientated. It could just be that you listened and acted as a friend for an hour. Maybe you just make really good coffee. It's really easy to define cheaper and faster, but you are not here because you want to be cheaper. So it's your job to work out what better means to each individual client. And so coming back to how to get people to pay what you're asking, the challenge is actually to stop focusing on price as the obstacle, believing in your worth, focusing on the other priorities, and then natural selection, for lack of a better term, will take care of the rest, because that's how I think that you get a client to pay what you're asking, is by being selective over who your clients are, not trying to be everything to everyone.
We're not a supermarket. We're a deli.
Mel, you've heard from, I think one of our students pitched in with an experience, right? Do you have any to share?
Yeah, so we've got one here from Destiny. Her socials are Miss Manny. So she said, I've luckily never had a client refuse to pay. I had a client who would always tip me an extra $10 but because she thought my services were too cheap. She'd get a $50 gel mani and would offer to give me $60 every time, and she would see me every 3 weeks. She's an accountant and thought I needed to up my prices, but I told her I had only launched my business 2 months ago. This wasn't a problem for her though. So this made me realize that there are people willing to pay $60 for a manicure, and I've been looking at ways and how I can attract more clients like her, aka Salon Success. Never had anyone say my prices are too expensive.
Her getting tipped extra from a customer because that customer thinks that she's too cheap. I know that my naughty thing I did with my prices when I first started wasn't so much like trying to discount my prices, but I would do all of my art for free. I didn't charge anything extra for art, and it was, some of the stuff was ridiculous and took a lot of extra time, and I just would not charge for it. And I would have actually similar thing to Destiny where some of those clients would just pay extra because, hey, I realized this took longer and I asked you for a lot extra. And then I started on this module of how to set your prices and went, oh, I really need to do something about that. And I really need to, and it doesn't need to be anything crazy. It can be based on the tier of art or whatever that you offer. You can have different pricing for that, but it's definitely same thing, that's a way that you can not meet everyone's needs, but if the additional extra full-blown art is not everyone's priority, then that's cool. They don't need to pay for that. they have the option of just a standard manicure of whichever product is their preference, but that you also have the ability to do those for the clients who do want it and actually get compensated for that additional work.
Get paid. Yeah, I was just going to say that pricing is just like a small part of why someone may or may not come to you. Like you were saying, Penny, my literal like best friend doesn't get her nails done with me because she always wants to come after hours, and I have children, so I don't do many after hours. And it's not like, oh, we can't be friends anymore. It's more like when I see her chip nails, that's not my problem anymore. So yeah, it doesn't, it's not the be all end all, it's just a small part of who you are and what you offer.
What about you, Jess? Any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
Well, I don't know the full story, but you recommended me to somebody who was looking at my pricing, and I was charging X amount for a removal, and they had asked you, is that normal? And you said yes. It's kind of, yeah. So I think the only thing that I probably wanted to add to that, and just to reiterate, if it's like, my comment to die on a hill with, is just to market yourself. It all comes down to, if you've got a price in mind for a service, whatever it is, we're not about telling you how much you should price yourselves at, because you know your costs. You're the only one who knows your costs. It's about pricing yourself in a way that you attract the right kind of client. And the only way you're going to attract that client is if you market yourself and you tell people why. So you're, like Penny has drummed into us, you're solving a problem. Do you want to be known as the person who, does amazing art or nail biter rehab, or can give you amazing extreme length that lasts for ages? It's about what is your point of difference and why should someone come to you, and marketing yourself as a private nail tech. We are a brand, and we're not a mall salon where you walk in and you can go to any old person. I always say to my clients, it's like, well, I'm either Just Cuts or I'm a hairdresser. People are like deathly loyal to their hairdressers. I haven't had my hair done since my hairdresser moved to Queenstown, and now she's coming back, and I'm like booked in and waiting, and I haven't had my hair done for over a year, colored, but I've been going and seeing other people to get it cut. You are the person that they want to talk to, that they want to have hold their hand for an hour, that they like to work with, and they happen to like your work. And it's just getting that across to people. And again, it comes down to, maybe you need to book in on another module with us about, what to talk about and how to market yourself on social media and things like that, because it's all so Venn diagrammy and tied in together.
I think that about sums it up. So before we wrap up, I just want to take a minute to remind you that all of our mentors have affiliate codes that you can use to get 10% off our courses. How to set your prices has been a big topic of conversation in this episode. If you Google Monaco Nails, how to set your prices, you'll find the course and be able to use any of the affiliate codes that our wonderful team mentioned earlier. With that done and dusted, before you disappear, like our page or follow the podcast so that you don't miss the next episode. What are we talking about next week, Mel?
The algorithm.
Ugh.
Yeah. No, with that reaction, the topic is why the algorithm doesn't suck.
There may be one that you girls should listen to. So we'll be talking about how the algorithm affects us, but why it actually can work in our favor. So if you are someone who has an immediate gag reflex when hearing about the algorithm, tune in next week. Until then, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube by searching Monaco Nail Academy, or follow our salons. Mine is Hard Lacquer NZ. Mel, yours is?
Jungle Nails NZ.
Bailey
Janet Nails.
And Jess.
Gloss Nails NZ.
Have a great week, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.